Eat Fruit Media is a mission-based organization built on helping individuals address personal situations while fostering unity and improvement. Welcome back, viewers. When you last left us, Jason's phone died, and Tom was left like a deer in the headlights to close the show. But now we're back. How you doing, Jason?
I'm well. My phone's charging right now while we're talking.
Awesome. We really got into a good groove, a good discussion of our talk on technology and dependency, and we started skimming a bit on divisiveness right now of AI. It's one of those things that reminding everybody that our technology is meant to be a tool. It's easy to get caught up in because it's literally at every turn. I'm surrounded by it as we speak. But it's one of those things, though, that from my own personal perspective, I'll share in a moment once we start rolling out a couple other items, that it's important. It really is. A lot of the work we do, there are some people that are able to keep themselves away from it. They want to stay away from it, and that's great. They're living their life. They're happy with how they're doing it. But most of us, it's just become a part of our life, and moving away from that now, aside from refining how we use it, is going to be a big deal. So, now, yay, statistics. What's that joke? 90% of all statistics are made up. But right now, as of this year, 98% of Americans own some form of mobile phone. And 76% of seniors 65 and older are also into smartphones now. We like to joke about people who still use flip phones. Mind you, we're not joking about them. If that's how people can contact you, that's great. And from terms of usage, you're probably not on it as much. You treat it like the classic rotary dial phone, where that's what it's there for. But literally, almost 100% of the country has one of those devices now, and it's proven. And now, the way it's used, nearly half of the United States spends 5 to 6 hours each day on our phones. And I can say, prior to my first start of this challenge, my average was much closer to 12 hours. And much of it was, I'm not so much, never been much of a doom scroller, but I have spent a bunch of just mindless time on social media, gaming, you name it. But in this past month alone, my usage has come down under 8 hours a day. And I'm using it more for the tool that it is. It's communicating. And that's on multiple platforms too. I use my laptop for a lot of these recordings, but my phone is how the two of us keep contact quite a bit, as well as I've been increasing my social media presence with intention, not just going on to throw something out there, intentionally being out there for something. My gaming, I've reduced to almost nothing. I no longer have it on when I'm trying to sleep, which has improved my quality of sleep quite drastically. Mind you, as a third shifter, I'm only getting maybe 2 to 3 hours of sleep at a time. Hope on a good day I at least do that twice. So how about you? Where do you find yourself in that category?
I just think back to the days when it was before we had them, before we had any technology. Because if you were in the 80s, born in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, anytime before 80s, you went through a period of time you didn't have cell phones.
Right.
And my wife, Kayla, she's 10 years younger than me. So her perspective on phones is much different than mine. And then, but her perspective, because she's 10 years older than Isaiah, my oldest son, her perspective, Isaiah, is much different.
Yep.
And then on and on it goes. And if you were raised anywhere, I was 1979. So cell phones didn't come out till I was out of high school.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They did, the internet came out kind of a little bit in high school, but no one was really using it.
Right.
It was kind of stupid. And my parents were always just people that had to have all the greatest technology. They had the Apple V or the Apple computer when it first came out. In
Yep.
I think it was 1984. They had that little computer. I don't know how they paid for that. They had the VCRs. My dad had the car phone where they had the spiral thing that went up like those.
Oh yeah,
and
I
all
remember
that stuff.
those.
Yeah. So they always had that technology, but there was nothing like what we've seen with the internet.
Oh no, and that's when the internet hit all of us. It correlates too, is what the technology gap was prior to the internet going public, how we went decades without upgrades to different tech. Post internet, everything started happening quicker to the point now where, and we even joked back then that whatever piece of technology you buy today is obsolete tomorrow. And that's never been more true than now. There's constant upgrades to everything.
I feel it's our generation, it's our job that we hold a special responsibility with this, to educate people.
Yep.
I think you're right at the edge, Tom, because you're pretty freaking old.
I am.
There's a generation that's a little too old to teach anything.
Oh, absolutely.
Unless they were really techie. But there is a generation, and I think it happens to be our generation, Tom.
Yep.
Where we know what it's like to live without technology.
Right.
We remember what it was like to not have a computer tell us how to get to directions. We had to know it. We had little maps. We had these things that you unfolded and you actually drove down you looked at a map.
Yep.
We remember what it was like when you went out at nighttime and you didn't know if you're going to come home, and your parents couldn't just text you or call you, see your locations.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are?
Yeah. we remember those days, and it forged something inside of us.
Yep.
An independence, a reality, to know how we knew how to sit in the woods without having phones. We knew how to go into a doctor's office and look at a magazine. We knew how to sit on a bathroom and read a book. We knew how to do things like that. But then technology came in, and we know how to do that too.
Right.
So there's a teeter-totter to that. And so I never want to be this person, because for a while I was this type of person you should, back when I did it, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't have that. No, because I think it's an awesome tool.
Yep.
And I think that we've gone through this time where it's just almost like we've gone crazy with it, just like anything else.
Yep.
But I think that especially our generation is like, no, we remember how to live balanced, and we just have to be balanced with it. And I think it's our responsibility, because even Kayla, she's 37 years old, she remembers what it was like without a cell phone, but not like I did.
Right. Oh yeah. It is entirely different. And speaking of that, it's funny how when the internet came out, it was strictly via our desktop computers or those who had laptops. But now, internet traffic, 63% of it actually goes through our phones. So touch on some of the addictions here really quick. That phone dependency. There's been, by the end of last year, a study said 27% of adults between 18 and 29, those statistics went up with their smartphone dependency. And really, I think if you look at our generation, I wouldn't be surprised if that number may have gone up even higher in recent years. But here's some hope, even though they might seem a little negative. When people put their cell phones down, especially if you've been on it for a long time or used to using it very heavy, the range of reaction can be a bit different. It can be initial anxiety and restlessness in a way because your brain's tricked that it's busy, and now you're not. But over time, and that time depends on the person, eventually your focus and your relaxation starts to come back. And I was guilty of this for a brief period of time, but it's been a few years. When we become so dependent on it, we get into that habit of compulsively checking the phone. It's in our pocket, but I didn't look up the statistics, but I know the average person does pull that phone out and look at the screen over 100 times a day.
Yeah.
Whether anything. A thing that it's been a while since I actually experienced it, but I have experienced the phantom vibration syndrome. Your phone's not actually going off, but in your pocket it feels like it is. And that's one of those things that those are connected between that compulsive checking. And then there are some people that it goes even more extreme, what they call nomophobia. And that's a no mobile phone phobia, meaning they literally cannot function unless that device is in their hand, which is, and it's not that they're using it, but it's in their hand. They might be staring at it instead of somebody else. But so now I'm not gonna really dig any deeper into those negative things, but when the phone is really left alone, and that's putting it down, going outside to do something, and telling yourself, I'm close enough to civilization, if you will, I don't need it while I go do this. When it's really left alone, it's easier to concentrate. It really is. And our focus on the task that we went to do is much stronger, and we're able to be more productive in the moment. And once we get over the fact that we want to check the device, got to see somebody might be trying to reach out to us. But once we get past that, the stress starts to shed a bit. And honestly, with the statistics showing technology connection and depression, we start to disconnect a little more. Those levels of depression tend to start alleviating. They don't necessarily go. Some people can't get away from that anyways these days, but the more they're unplugged, the less that's going to hit. And I can also speak from experience. When I'm not staring into my phone, I'm more in that moment. Whoever I'm with, I'm right there and I'm connecting. And again, that's not to say our technology's bad. What this points out is how we're using that technology and how important it is to make sure that we're much more intentional when we do log on, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think you're right on, Tom, and I think it's just a matter of, I had a good friend of mine used to say all the time, use and abuse,
Yep.
And I think it's the best of both worlds if you can use it. If
Yep.
you can use it right, it's a great tool, and it's going to open up a lot of opportunities.
Definitely.
And I think it's just, we're still, I use the word evolve. We're
Yep.
still evolving. I almost
yeah.
I almost see these phones as a part of our body really is from the earth.
Yep.
Even if you're, almost every tradition it says in our body, when we die, it turns into dust, right?
Yep.
So
it returns. Yep.
I call our body, the way I call it our soil suit, because we come from the soil. Like we're part of the earth.
Did you just call us dirty?
Soil suit. And it's really, we're just matter. And
Right.
it houses the soul inside of us. We have the soul, and the soul is
It's
one
a shell,
learn.
right?
And it's a vehicle. It's an awesome vehicle. And I think these cell phones are kind of part of that vehicle.
Oh yeah, definitely these days.
And I don't think the cell phones is where it's going to end. They're going to keep on evolving, and we're going to keep on evolving with it. And it's going to go in two directions.
Yep.
You're either going to use this monster for the bad, or you're going to use it for the good.
Correct.
You're using it already. You can pretend you're not using. You go to the gas pump, you're using it. You go to the movie theaters, you're using it. You go into the grocery store, you're using it. Well, I don't use AI. Well, you might not use a specific part of AI, but you are using it. You cannot get away from it. If you own a cell phone, you're using it all the time.
Yep.
If you're on Facebook, all the algorithms are done by AI. If you're on TikTok, all the algorithms are done by AI. There's not some people in some room doing all these scrolling.
Oh no, that'd take way too much time.
AI is it's everywhere. It's way more than people think it is.
Right.
They're talking about investing trillions of dollars globally into this thing. So, buckle up. You got to get used to it. Now, that doesn't mean you have to it doesn't mean you have to use every aspect of it. Right. Like some people don't like ChatGPT. I thought that's fine. Some people don't like. Some people like a different part of it, and I don't like that part of it. You got to find you. You got to find what works for you. But here's what I think we should end here with this. No matter what you do, this thing is a powerful thing, but your soul needs rest. Correct. Your soul needs rest. And the best way to do that, I found, is to take your phone, and you just got to start somewhere. It might start with 4 minutes for you.
Yep.
It might just be that weird, where you put your phone down and you get away from it. Like you get outside, you got to get away from it. It's not enough to put it in your pocket and not to look at it. You got to somehow physically get away from it. If you can get into nature, that's even better, but not everybody has nature. But if you can get on grass, I know it sounds weird, but we are electric beings, and there's something with this. And so you might start at 4 or 5 minutes. I'm not here to judge, man. If that's where you're at, I'm proud of you for doing 4 or 5 minutes.
Right.
Then work up to 15 minutes. And maybe go a little farther away. Try to get a mile away from your phone. That's what I try to do. And then, conveniently, if you're married, conveniently leave it at home and you're out with your spouse when you go to the grocery store.
Yep.
I do that. And watch your spouse look at you like, what? Are you going to survive? Like, you got a cell phone. We're good. We're going to make it.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the thing. That is the thing is we feel this need that we need to be in constant contact.
Yeah.
But we're not actually being in contact.
We just need to mindfully put it down.
Yep.
And start somewhere doing it, and then keep on adding on it, and get to the point where you're using it and then you're not using it, and you're just good at it. You're just good at it. You teach your kids how to be good at it.
Find your balance.
You got to find your balance in it.
Yep.
I don't think it's a good idea to go either way with it. I don't think it's a good idea to say it's totally bad, and I don't think it's a good idea to say it's totally good.
It's how we use it. Definitely. It's how we.
And I think, Tom, we got to end with this.
Yep.
It's your and I responsibility. I really feel it's our generation to teach people how to use this thing correctly. So that means that we have to be in check with that.
We model the message.
We have, because we remember. I don't expect everybody to. We grew up in a time where all we did was ground. That's all we did. We were literally told to go outside and play until we were told to come back in. We were grounding all day long. My wife got to do that too. She talks about that, even though she's younger, till she was 10. So it's our job to tell people man, there's we don't have to have it. It is a skill. We just have to help people get back there. That's it. Constantly
challenging our comfort zone. Absolutely. That is a great point and a perfect way to say goodbye today.
Eat fruit.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for joining us for this Eat Fruit Media production. If you are on a platform that allows and you resonate with the message, please like, share, and follow, or even subscribe. We hope that those that have been listening and watching are doing their best to live their life to their fullest purpose. Eat fruit.